Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to have to deal with a pesky pest situation. It involves my beautiful Gloriosum. So let's get started. Well, you know what they say, plants don't always stay healthy forever. At least I think they say something like that, or I'm just making it up. I don't know. But I can tell you this, my beautiful Gloriosum that I've had for about a year now, it was doing so well. I noticed some webs in it, which means that it's dealing with spider mites. So yesterday I washed it off in the shower. Today I'm going to apply some different solutions to it. I like to mix together warm water, a little bit of dish soap, unscented, and a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and that's pretty much it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean each one of these leaves, these beautiful leaves, and they look like they're struggling, and I can tell it's because of those silly and stupid spider mites. I haven't dealt with spider mites in a long time. One good thing to do when you deal with a pest situation is to isolate the plant away from any other plants. That way it doesn't spread the infestation, even if it's a small one, over to any of your other plants, because the last thing you want to have happen is for like a big outbreak to occur. And if you have, a couple plants like I do, that is one of your worst possible outcomes and nightmares. And fortunately, I haven't had to deal with anything dramatically as large as that, knock on wood, yet. But what I did notice is that when I was looking at this plant, I'm like, why does it not look as healthy? And then I looked in between its leaves, and that's where I saw those webbings, those little webbings. And the thing about spider mites is that they're so really difficult to kind of see at first, just because they're so small, and it's pretty much like you have to look for the web. And it might even just look like a smaller little version of a spider web, but the moment you see something like that, it's just really good to get in the habit of isolating the plant, keeping it away from others. And so, yeah, yesterday I brought this baby into the shower, washed its leaves off, hoping that, that would give a little bit of defense towards it, but it's also important to really go all in with it. And so that's why I'm putting together this solution. Now, I do use like neem oil and stuff like that, but I haven't done it in a long while. I don't know. Neem oil is effective in some instances, but you really have to be adamant with cleaning off your plants when they have any sort of pest, whether it's spider mites, mealybugs, or gosh forbid, aphids. Those are the worst, and I've dealt with those before. It's pretty much like sometimes you just have to kind of throw out a plant. And trust me when I tell you this, if you have a Gloriosum, you don't want to throw it out because it's so beautiful. And this guy in particular, I need to do a better job of maintaining him because he's gotten so large for this pot. And as a crawling philodendron, it's reached the end point. I mean, its growth point, its new one, is right at the edge. So I'm going to have to propagate this baby soon. But this has been such a beautiful and joyful plant for me to grow. Hands down, one of my favorites. The foliage, as you can see, is absolutely stunning. It's got that silver vining through it in those beautiful shades of green that start off light, and then they get more hunter color, like a darker green. Yeah, this is one of my favorite plants, and whenever I have somebody over to my apartment, it's one of the first things that they notice is just like how beautiful of a plant it is. And I'll have to tell you, very easy to actually grow too. It's not like, a lot of the other philodendron that really need higher humidity. Of course, this baby does really well when you give it some nice humidity. The humidity in my apartment is pretty good. I keep it around 50 to 60% with lots of air circulation, because the last thing you want is for that humidity to just be floating around, because then you run into other issues. But I have to tell you too, there's some other beautiful spin-offs that are hybrids related to the Gloriosum. In fact, this is one of them right here behind me, the Philodendron Summer Glory. and that thing is gorgeous. And you can tell the similarities that it has with the Gloriosum because its leaves just kind of have that shape. They have a little bit of silver vining, but what I enjoy and appreciate so much about them is the coloration in those plants' foliage when they come out. Some of them come out red, then they transition into like a dark burgundy color, and then they go to green. I'll tell you this too. Even though I isolated this plant quickly away from others, it's also really good to get in the habit of looking at the other plants that are around it, just to monitor them, just to see, hey, do I notice any webbing inside around this plant? Is there a possibility? Because if you can spot that really fast and attend to it, you're going to be in a much better position and less likely to have to deal with any sort of pest outbreak. Now that we're into spring, one thing that I really like to do, and I'll probably do this closer to like May, is that I order once a year a thing of about like 300 ladybugs, live ladybugs, and you can get them on Amazon, and they show up super healthy and alive. And what I do is I'll release them in my apartment. And you might think to yourself, well, that sounds crazy, but it's actually like you don't even notice them. Rarely do they go anywhere near you. And on top of that, ladybugs are plant pest machines. They can eat so many little spider mites or anything else that might be coming after your plants in such a short period of time. It is nuts. They're very effective, but I like releasing them usually in the springtime. I am a little bit upset and saddened by the fact that this guy has spider mites. I can't blame them though, because it's such a beautiful plant that it just kind of catches anything's attention, not just people, but obviously pests. I know this is that a lot of pests, like spider mites, are really attracted to those velvety leaf plants. And this is a very velvety leaf plant. Its leaves are so soft and gorgeous, as I've been going on and on about them. But also, you deal with a lot of spider mite type issues with alocasia, anthurium, and so it's kind of like you really just have to you really have to take into consideration if you're going to go after these beautiful plants that have these beautiful leaves, that it's not just you who's going to think that they're beautiful. It's going to be those pesky pests. Try saying that over and over at least 24 times. Pesky, pesky. Can't even do it. I'll tell you. I also need to check on my Philodendron, Dean McDowell. That's another one that can get spider mites pretty easily that are attracted to it. But last time I checked it like 2 weeks ago, I didn't notice anything. So that's a good thing. One good thing at least will come from this. And one thing too is that once I'm done cleaning this guy's leaves, I will still isolate it and I will check its leaves daily and just to see if there's any signs of pests, any other pest pressure. And then probably another week, I'll let it be isolated. And then once I feel like it's safe, I'll bring it back into the crowd, the mix. But until then, it is on lockdown. This is like plant COVID, basically. And I have a zero tolerance policy for any pests. As much as I love this plant, I can't let it risk infecting others. And I don't even know how bad of a spider mite type of situation this one might be dealing with. I'm assuming it's not too bad just because I saw it right away. The webs were really small, and I think I only saw them on 2 leaves. But if they're on 2 leaves, I just jump into the assumption that they're on every leaf, because that's the way to really go about handling something like this. What is also nice about having this little simple mixture of a little bit of dish soap, warm water, and rubbing alcohol is the fact that rubbing alcohol just kind of like destroys pests pretty quickly. And so, but you want to dilute it. That's where the water comes in. I just put a little bit of rubbing alcohol in there. And what I'm doing is just with a paper towel, I am just wiping off the leaves in between the little veins in the back and the little ridges, making sure to get around the edges because you never know where those silly, pesky spider mite pests are going to be hiding. Okay, let's see here. Just got a little bit more to do on this back end. Oh, the first time I ever dealt with spider mites was with a beautiful ivy plant that I had. It was one of my first plants. I love that plant so much. And that thing just got eaten up by spider mites and it was gone. I had to throw the whole plant away, which was awful. I actually cried over that. I cried over the fact that it was gone, which, you know, that's when I realized I have an attachment to my plants in a very probably unhealthy way. But I love them. They're my babies. Okay. And just like that, his leaves have been cleaned. And I am going to throw this away and move him back into isolation. I'm curious to know, if you deal with spider mites or any other pests, do you have any tricks or tips that you can share with me about how you deal with them? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel also so you can see fresh new content as it becomes available. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.